So, hello, welcome once again to our BA and Product Management Dead Days. My name is Dasha and I am the moderator of Product Management stream. First of all, thank you to each and every of you who have been here with us today. Despite the fact that we are online, we can still have an effective communication together. As already was mentioned on our opening, you can put all your questions in chat and Q&A session that you can see on the right of your screen. So I wish you all a very fruitful conference, and let's start. I think that it's quite symbolic that we start our conference from the topic on the start of the product management profession. And I'm very happy to introduce you the participants of our round table. Kateryna Holubynska, product manager at EPAM. Mike Karenugin, group product manager at PandaDoc. Mariia Shugurova, product manager at EPAM, and Andrii Gavryliuk, product manager at EPAM. Guys, I know that all of you have a different background and stories of your professional development. Please just tell us, what was your journey to product management? Anybody wants to start?
Yeah, I can start. Yeah, so my journey is such typical for everyone whom I saying it and like telling the story of my journey. So actually I have in fact two professions. The first is HR. I used to grow to HR director in non-IT company that was Ukrainian B2B business. And then I switched my career dramatically to IT, and my first profession in IT development was a Scrum Master. And then from that point, I've managed to grow to the product manager. So that's, frankly speaking, my story.
Great, really interesting. Andrii, what was your story?
Well, it was simpler, I guess, because I joined EPAM more than 10 years ago as a application support analyst, and then I became a business analyst and then a product manager. Very simple.
Very simple and very fast in combining with previous story. Great. I think that also simple but long will be the story from Mike. Tell please your story.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I started in IT as a product manager right away, but that was like 2012 when there were not so many product managers out there and nobody really understood what that is. And I guess one of the reasons I became that is I wasn't good enough of an engineer, neither was good enough of a marketing manager. So, you know, that was the founders said, you know what, we here in the US, we have product managers running around. I guess we need one for ourselves. So that's how I started there. Later I realized that I don't know anything about digital marketing as I was working at that startup. And I guess I switched to marketing for 3 years and then back to B2B product management in another startup. And now I'm working as a group product manager in PandaDoc. That's my story in a nutshell.
Great story. And I think the opposite story with a great engineer will be from Lara. Please tell us.
Actually, being an engineer, that was my first job at IT. So let's forget about that because it was like 17 years ago. So it's a long way. So actually, I can't say in what exactly time I became a product manager because I just realized that this is what I'm doing. And that was probably more than 10 years ago. I worked in Moscow in many projects and many different products as IT manager, delivery manager, whatever they named me. But that was what I was doing. I was designing things to bring some value for business, for customers, for users. And that was what I was doing all of my life, almost my professional life. So it was like that.
That's amazing stories all around. Guys from the audience, I just remind you that you can put your questions in the Q&A section. Otherwise, I will use my position and ask all questions that I want to know from our guys. So, and the first question from my side is, just describe when and how did you realize that you do product management? Was it something official, or just it was sometime then you just realized that this is something that will be called product management?
Let me start then. As a BA, I was looking for another project, and one of them that I was offered was a technical product manager for a client of EPAM. It was supposed to mean a lot of BA work, but the client itself was very product-minded, and they were building new products, kind of exciting. So I joined as a TPM, so-called, and worked with the product manager on the roadmaps and all kinds of product management stuff. And in some time, that person was promoted to the head of product. So essentially, he had less time for me, and we had more trust, and a lot of his activities were kind of transferred onto me. So that's probably how it started. And in a while, they decided to give me another product. And in another while, when they decided to build a new one, they also gave it to me and my team and expanded it. That was kind of cool. And that's how I ended up with 3 products at the same time. But well, to be fully transparent, just a tiny part of a huge product portfolio. So yeah, that's my story. That's how I became a product manager, I guess.
Would you say it happened kind of naturally to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let me share you a story. That was like about 12 years ago, I believe, or maybe more. We were brainstorming for ideas for our product that was Twiggle.ru, the Russian version of Netflix, but that was long before the Netflix. So we were brainstorming and arguing with our team how it should be done, what should we do, and guys, they had lots of great ideas. And I remember that moment when I realized, okay, but what is the reason, why we should decide to select specific feature to develop? And I went to our accountants to check some numbers, to check some money, to decide what can be, how to link those two things. And long after that, I realized that there is no need to develop something new, some new process or some new approach. There are so many books in that area which can help me to select the right approach to that. So that was, I believe, the first step. And I started using those things like some customer interviews or data to make decisions, you know, all of that probably. So that was like a long way to bring something new, some new approach, some new things into my professional life. But I was just project manager, so that was how it started. But I was, you know, the angry one, because I was always asking about some data, like, oh, you really think that this feature is important? Let's see what the data says. Something like that. And everyone hated me that time, but I think that now they changed their minds and now they know how it should be done.
Bad policeman.
Yeah.
Mike, Kate, was your first positions official product manager position on you, or you also sometime realized?
Well, I would say that for me, it was not about the realization of that I'm doing this job, but that was my conscious decision that I want to move in this direction. And how it happened in my life, well, actually, I was hired initially as a business analyst to one of the startup. But you know, the culture of the startup is that to some extent you're at some moment you realize that you are not just doing the only BA function, so some kind of this might be extended. So that actually was my story. And in parallel, while performing this job, I also started in product management course, and I accomplished it so that I've already had understanding of how it should be done in the ideal world, or what exact scope of product management activities might be performed, and I was just assessing some tools, why and when and how they are applicable to the product where I was involved at that moment. And yeah, I was just striving to suggest to business stakeholders and to the team some of them, and this is how it actually was in my life.
Thank you. Mike, your turn.
Awesome. Yeah, I think for me, I got the title right away, but it was not really what I was doing. I wouldn't call myself a product manager right now, or at least not a good one back then. I guess the biggest things I relied on right away were like, just competition analysis, like just feature matrices and whatnot, just not being truly data driven, not really knowing all of the best practices. And I think there was really no good way to know that back in the days.
Great. We have lots of questions, and I'll start to ask them from the guys. So one of the question, and I think that we can combine it, was what steps did you each go through? Some of you already told us, but maybe some exact tips. And what was the most difficult at the beginning of product management career? So the steps, and what is the most difficult?
I guess the biggest difficulty, if you're starting as a product manager, I guess at any new company, or if you're just new to this role, is to just earn the trust. And I'd say overall, just earning the trust of managing up and down both is the biggest thing that you need to do over your first like half a year to a year, to make sure that people can really trust you, and so that you don't have to prove even the basic things to everyone.
And I would 100% back up Mike. Sorry for interruption, but yeah, this is absolutely true, because when I first joined as a, well, let's say technical product manager, trust was the biggest problem, because we have a huge time difference. We are in different locations, and there was no chance for me to travel at the time. Just, well, to see the people, to meet them in person, and start a more productive relationship. But I had to do this over thousands of miles, and yeah, building trust is the first step. So when everyone from some senior level executives to salespeople to support guys can really trust you and your dev team, that's it. That's when things start rolling. And before that, well, it's not that good.
Do you have guys any advice how to earn this trust?
Yeah, I think the easiest one would be to take a job that's not the prettiest, not a lot of people are willing to do, but it's just something ugly, but the company really needs. That's probably what you want to do.
What if I won't be able to do this job? Should I take it?
I guess you'll always fail as a product manager. It's just a part of the job. You should expect to fail more often than succeed.
Great, thank you.
Actually, I agree with that one, because you see, about 9 out of 10 hypotheses that we test, they fails, and sometimes it's difficult to explain why 90% of your time leads to nothing. And this is the most important part, to say, guys, we just got smarter. We know that this is the wrong way. We saved some money, and this is the key moment, because people like to, especially if we're talking about huge companies who can invest lots of money in developing beautiful things, to explain why we need to save money for them, not to develop something beautiful, but something that won't bring any value to business, any money. And that can be a very challenging task, actually. And for me, it was maybe the most challenging. or of course time management, if you have to you know, do a lot of things because you are participating in different areas. You are responsible both for the content, for the development, and you need to do something with lots of different teams with different mindsets. So it can be also challenging, but the most important part is, I believe, that one.
Thank you.
Well, that's what we're saying about to gain the trust. For me, one of the difficult things was to start trust myself. So not to gain trust from others, but to first this point, to feel like I can trust my thoughts, my I don't know, my concepts and actually all this stuff myself. And the second, well, it's not kind of challenging thing, but I would say it's like kind of task for the product manager is to build an appropriate culture in the team. And this culture of failing that Lera just said, it's about this, to to build this culture that you may not verify your hypothesis or it may not work. And it's important also to build this culture inside the development team and both for the business stakeholders.
Yeah.
Oh, you know one thing. The most probably one of the most difficult thing is to help people or to make them stop saying I have an idea, and encourage them to say I have a hypothesis, because this is quite a different mindset. If they have an idea, it should be developed. Of course, you have to hire lots of developers and start designing these things. But if they say I have a hypothesis, it's needed to be tested. This is a different mindset, and it should be changed, really, and that can be hard.
Yeah. But I also guess that, you know, people are asking these questions are not really interested in the soft skills more. They're probably curious about the hard ones too. And I think like when, sorry, Darya, you wanted to add to this?
I just wanted to mention that, yeah, maybe we're talking in the right way, because the guys also asks two other questions about the most important quality and the most important hard skill.
Yeah, I think with the most important hard skill, I wouldn't pick just one, but you know, if you look up on Twitter like Shreyas, who used to be, I think, the CPO of Stripe until the last week. He is a very good guy. He has a lot of good posts on this topic. So what he said recently is, as a PM, you need to make sure that in one of the three topics, I guess it's data, UX, and your communication abilities, you should be in the top 10 for one, in the top, I guess, top 70 for another, and top 50 for the third, if you want to be hired for a good position. So I wouldn't say that there's just one, but among these three, you should just make sure that at least one is really, really good.
Thank you. Maybe any more ideas around the hard skills, guys?
I would agree with the data, but I would add something, again, more about connected, something between hard and soft skills, because actually soft skills are hard skills for managers, especially for a product manager, because during your work as a product manager, you have to conduct lots of research. You have to be able to talk to lots of people, and you have to analyze the data you receive. So it's more about that. So you have to really have some skills in that area. Maybe they can be developed, but it would be much easier if you're open-minded and very communicative person. It can help, really, but you can overcome that. I saw lots of product managers who really don't like to communicate with others, but they overcome themselves and they're quite successful. So it can help. But regarding data, you know, the most important part is not just to take some kind of simulator of, you know, working with data. Probably all of you know what I mean, but it can help. But to design the right approach from their business metrics, from the business value, down to product metrics. This is the key thing for all the managers, because it can form your mindset. It can form other things. You would you will be able to identify what should be improved in your skill set if you know what the problem you are solving. So to understand why you need to develop something, or which value it can bring to your project, to your product. I think it is the first thing that you have to start, and it's quite difficult actually, because it requires lots of work, understanding, reading.
Mm-hmm. I would
probably also add, apart from communication and data skills, which are by far probably the most important, I would have to add critical thinking, which I guess is a game changer for a person that needs to make some decisions and kind of decide whether it's worth it or not. And critical thinking is something that really lets you do that, because sometimes a feature might be very, very desirable and it might look fancy, and some people would say, yeah, I love it 100%, but it might just not be worth it, or it might be not the thing that you want to do right now. So yeah, that's my point.
Great, thank you. And maybe let's move on to next questions, because we have a lot. The one is particular to you, Andrii. What is the difference and key difference between business analyst and product manager at EPAM?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. Yeah, well.
Have you answered these questions during the assessment?
Of course I did. I can talk a lot about that. And probably there is no right or wrong answer, but of course there are some key differences. We have several tracks at EPAM. One is a specialist track and one is a management track. So there's a reason that product manager as a project manager is a management title at EPAM. It requires certain experience, certain maturity from a person that wants to have the title. So there's a reason that there's no junior product manager or junior project manager here at EPAM as well. This kind of means that you already passed some path before, and you have certain experience, and business analysis is one of them. Means that you just learn how to communicate with the client, how to make the client's desires come true, and develop features and software that your client wants. But if you're a BA, your goal is to understand why the client wants it and implement it. There's probably no space for arguing too much. And well, let's say it's not in the job position, right? You have to get the scope and transfer it to the dev team, and they implement it, and the client becomes happy because that's what he wants. With product management, it's somewhat different, because your opinion is now valued, and you are a peer to your client, where you both try to understand what the market wants, what the clients want, etc., etc., and you try to figure out how to build the features that would be least money consuming from development perspective, and would bring a lot of value, and would drive the product further, and so on and so forth. So probably this is the difference. If someone wants to add anything, you're very welcome. But that's my point here.
I guess the biggest difference is the level of confidence, essentially. With
yeah, absolutely.
When you're a BA, essentially you are working for a specific company, for a specific client. Everything is more or less clear. Obviously, there are always areas that even the client itself doesn't know how what kind of problem they're having and why. But when you're working as a product manager, most likely you're developing something for people you don't know. And there are a lot of assumptions. You're trying to approximate your learnings from other clients and companies and customers, like just people and companies, onto other areas that you don't really know. And that's why that's why the approach is different.
Yeah.
Well, I would add, just one point to Mike's one. In B2C world, yes, that's true. In B2B, that's somewhat different because building a business-to-business product, we do know our clients. We meet them. They're big. They're willing to pay some big bucks for the products that we build. But different clients want to pay for different features, and that's where we have to figure out what's the most important and what should be the first in the scope and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, there's like, you know, if you look at this, there's the scale of like this enterprise development and like bespoke development on one edge of the scale. And then this is just fully product-led organization where everything is just a hypothesis or anything is just a hypothesis. So yes, absolutely. There's a lot of difference between different companies, even if you're a product manager and with different processes that you can follow. Sorry, Kate, you were saying.
Yeah, I just wanted to summarize a bit as like based on my experience, this is like a different scale of your mind. And I know that sometimes product manager may also do BA job, but it might not be so beneficial and efficient from the strategic perspective to this particular company, because when you're doing the hands-on job as a business analyst, sometimes it's kind of impossible to think as a product manager. So when your hands are busy, your mind cannot be focused on more high-level topics. And the second one, as just guys mentioned already, this is the level of uncertainty that you have in your job. So if you are a product manager, you're a person who is making decisions based on whatever tool you use, data, assumptions, I don't know, experts, expertise of other domain experts in different areas. And in case you are a business analyst, your job is more like a predefined, so that you have this person, and to some extent, BA job is much more easy. So there is always a product manager or some other business stakeholders where you can approach and to get your answers. But in case you are a product manager, you do not have these answers. You should make decisions and provide these answers to your team.
I would like to add one more thing, because guys mostly they have experience in B2B products, but I worked mostly for B2C products, and there's no person you can ask your questions. There are like hundreds, thousands, millions of them. You can't ask them, and all of them, they want different things. And they, you know, it's absolutely different approach. You can, sometimes it's simple to mix, you know, product manager and business analyst role if you develop kind of B2B product. It's different, of course it's different, but it's sometimes difficult to find out what is the difference, especially if you're looking from the outside of the team and if you don't know the specific of the work, both of the specialists. But you can't mix the roles of business analyst and the product manager of B2C sector. Absolutely different approach, absolutely different things. So it's quite different.
Thank you. We talked a lot about the uncertainty and assumptions. And the next question to you guys is how you are usually testing hypotheses, especially for completely new product.
Hypotheses are only tested with data. It's like there's no other way.
Okay.
What about interviews? What about customer development and all of those things?
Yeah, I mean, these are for sure. I mean, this is like the hypothesis screening process, but then you'd still be left with a bunch of them that are still not proved. That just, you know, there's just a slightly higher level of confidence. This is just not total bullshit, but you still need to build and test. I mean, and there are a lot of ways to do it in B2B world. Like you can launch, you can even go as far as like launch fake companies to you know, to collect some beta requests and whatnot, but this is not a widely used practice. But yeah, overall you can't fully confirm something until you build. And yeah, as Lara said before, while you have a whole bunch of different ideas, Absolutely, customer development and just getting some market research, competition analysis, just interviews through services like Respondent or any other where you can just talk with people from a specific industry or using some other products and learn about their processes. Yes, that's how you do some preliminary validation.
For me, it starts with the interviews that our salespeople do with the clients and gather some feedback on their pains and what problems they have. And just to be transparent, I deal with real estate business in across the United States. It's highly regulated, and well, there's lots of problems to it. So yeah, the sales work with big leasing companies, with banks and other enterprise level market players. They gather their feedback on what features would be desired, and then we kind of brainstorm the ideas of how to solve those problems. And then we either build some kind of proof of concept, maybe a tiny MVP that would have a UI showing how this problem can be solved, to mock that workflow for them, and then the sales go to those clients and just pitch it to them. If the response is highly positive, then we calculate what the profit is going to be out of that feature and decide whether to build it or not. That's it.
Yeah, I guess there's a whole list of levels of confidence. I mean, we typically start with just, okay, do we believe if it's worth looking at? That's the first step. If we don't, then we probably won't even consider doing anything else. Then, does it align with the strategy at all? If it does, then we'll continue. If it doesn't, we'll probably not do it again. Then, do we have any anecdotal evidence, like from, as Andrii mentioned, from the sales team, from our success team, maybe from some of our customers? Then the next step, okay, do we have any estimates, any proof of concept of how much that would cost? If it's like too big of an investment, do we even want to consider that? The next step is market data. And okay, do we have, like, let's say a Gartner research that says that this is let's say a market that grows with a CAGR of like 40%, then we'll probably definitely want to look into it and see if we want to take it. The next would be like user and customer evidence. We would consider, that's what we discussed as a customer development process, which is go ahead, do interviews, understand what's going on there. If there's really a problem with the segment of customers that we're working on, or is there a new segment that we want to take over that's adjacent to what we're working on. Then the next would be the actual like MVP, and then if we have the test results, that would be like almost the highest level of confidence possible. And then if we launch it in full grace and we actually get money from it and it's enough, then when we're fully confident. That's like the full scale of confidence.
I think it was a quick course how to do the work of product manager.
Thank you, Mike. That was really a short description of our daily work, like my life in 10 seconds.
Exactly.
That was great. And the next question is really similar to that. What are the most useful questions you ask yourself when you meet a new project?
Sorry, can you repeat that? What was the question?
Okay. What are the most useful questions you ask yourself when you meet a new project?
Okay, you wanted to start, or?
No.
No.
I think my main question that I ask always, is it worth doing? Like, is it going to, how much chance it's going to, it has to be successful one? Because, you know, this is the first thing you have to answer to yourself, is it worth your time, or if it is some kind of a job offer, is it going to succeed? How long it will take from you? So it's more about that to make this decision, because you can't just test it as we described previously. We can test it before accepting this project and starting investing our time, our efforts into that. We have to make decisions on full uncertainty. So it's like that. For me, just the first thing I have to decide.
I believe there are levels to this question. Because if you're looking for a job on the market and you're trying to pick a product company which decided to build that or another product, you probably have to believe in it and you have to like it, and you most likely have to be interested in what this product is about, because this is going to be everything you're going to be doing. Here at EPAM, we're still a service company. We move into consulting, but we still have our clients with their business ideas who come to us, and they are looking for advice and for expertise and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily that we have to love those products they build, but we have to be 100% committed to them, and we have to make sure that we drive those products to success, and we help our clients as much as we can. So yeah, that's the key difference.
It's interesting how we immediately looked at this very differently. I never even thought of this as like starting a new product that just somebody has given you. Sorry, Kate, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to mention that for me, it's highly important to believe in this product. So first question for me is what exact problem this product solves? So if I do not believe that this problem actually exists, I will not join this product. And for me, despite of working now in a service company, for me it's still important because in case I'm not inspired, in case I do not believe in that this product actually changes the world, and the world is getting better, is going to be better since this product will go live. So yeah, I want to join this product, whatever the cost of it will be for me.
Thank you. Next question is about the domains. If you want to work as a product manager in particular field, such as banking, but you are currently working as a business analyst in completely different domains, such as entertainment or logistics, then how could you position yourself as a product manager in your desired field? So the domain and the business analyst who want to be a product manager.
In banking especially. Go ahead, Kate. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to give my own example because well, I used to work in media business. I used to work in security as a service, let's call it like this, business, and I also used to work in financial sphere, so that's all different. I know that there is a kind of bias that in case you start your career or would like to build your career as a product manager, you should be like a domain expert and you should choose this one domain. But to be honest, I do not believe that it's like 100% true, because I'm an example of different approach. So for sure, as a product manager, you should be aware of this domain, but it actually results in your effort and the time consuming for gaining this knowledge. So I believe that even though you may start in a new domain, it will take you like about from 3 to 6 months to get understanding at least basically of such domain. Yeah, then you may develop in this area. Taking into consideration the exact questions that was posed, I think that maybe I can give a recommendation to start as a business analyst or product owner or some other role rather than product manager is in a new domain, so that it might be easier for the person to then grow to the product manager. But of course, this is not a unified recipe.
Maybe I can add from my side, when you're experienced BA, worked a lot with different domains, you already know how to learn new domain, it will be really easy for you to learn new one, because the whole approach is to learn domains are really, really similar. You just need to do researches a lot.
And let's also face it that in almost every big company, even a product company, there's a a whole product organization with a head of product and product managers managing different streams. So probably you will not be able to become the head of product right away in a completely new domain, unless you are a super successful product manager in a different domain in the past. But in case of switching from business analysis into product management, the head of product position is probably not the one you're looking for. For a product manager with a particular stream, it might not be that impossible, I would say. Maybe not banking, because it's a highly regulated and rather complex domain, because I have some experience of it of my own. And it requires some knowledge and some practical experience. You have to know the domain inside out, maybe to know what's going on there. But other than that, it's okay. I think it's absolutely possible.
I would say, yeah, given that, first of all, people do hire junior product managers. We do hire junior product managers, and a lot of companies do, simply because there are not enough people in the market and there's a huge demand. So if you know the ins and outs of the product management skills and the process of how to, lead your part of the business or your part of the product to success, or at least have an idea of how other people do it, it is possible to get a job even without the domain knowledge. Domain knowledge is always a huge plus if somebody is looking for a hire, but it's not a hard requirement, or it's almost never a hard requirement.
I would add something more about that. I think that, of course, it is a huge challenge, because I changed my domain areas. I developed several video projects in my life, and I believe that I stuck in that domain area, so I switched the domains. But I was a product manager, and that was not so simple, actually, because everyone asked me during job interviews, oh, you work only for video and you know only about monetization by advertisement and other things, so you are not good at B2B products, for example. So I went through this. But you can always, if you have to switch both your specialty and your domain, you can always develop a pet project related to that domain. You can start your own website with some news, or I don't know, some blog, and try to sell something there, like advertisement or something. So you can go both ways at the same time. And to develop your own pet project, this is somehow related. This is at least a good intention, and that would be definitely appreciated during your next job interview as a product manager in your desirable domain.
Oh, and following your advice today, you already, guys, can try to pitch your own product during our conference and next speech. And I think that we already answered it, but maybe just make a point. The question is, what is the most important for a product manager? Technical knowledge or domain knowledge?
Well, for me, that's for sure the domain knowledge. And here I am an example of non-technical product manager. So I do not have any technical education, non-development, non-QA one. So yeah, that's for me, it always was important to dig deeper into business where I'm working. That was from my, start of my career as an HR, because even for HR person, when you do not so close to the business and you do not understand how this business works, so you want to be successful. And I believe that for any business person, whoever this role is, business analyst or product manager or I don't know, CEO, HR, or whoever this role may be, you should be as much close to business as it possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add that I don't think that any of these are the critical pieces for you to be hired at first. So I think that if you are looking to become a product manager, neither of the two are going to be the critical items that you'll be evaluated against at first, at least. These are definitely going to help you grow further and may be extremely important in some specific domains, but overall, I think they're just basic product skills that you need to take care of first.
I think that it really depends on a product type, because if you're developing some, I don't know, cloud system and your audience are developers, for example, it can be critical to understand the difference, because your domain area is the same as technical things related to a project, so it can be the same. And it definitely depends on a project type or a company type, because some domains, they are really can be easily discovered. Others, they can be very specific and very difficult, and it can take more than a year, more than several years to get used to it. So it really depends on type of project.
Yeah, I agree here. Just one, like 50 cents from my side. It also depends on the personality of you who is going to jump into this particular area. Because if it is too sophisticated for you to dig deeper in the main area that Lera just gave an example, so yeah, that might be an issue. But in case you are not afraid or feel like you may dig deeper into this area, so yep, I feel like you will find the way how to gain this knowledge rather than from like talking to your development team or to learning something or whatever it is. The way like you are learning, you're gaining knowledge.
We also have a question about the economics background. Is it important as a hard skill for a product manager?
P&Ls and stuff like that, or what do we refer to as economics?
I believe it's about numbers and yeah, P&Ls and all this stuff around the financial things.
Well, I guess it really depends on the company. If that's a really early company, like a super early startup, that type of experience would be very helpful, because product managers would typically be involved in the type of conversations there, because money are really tight there, and you're looking for the highest ROI, and you're also very not anxious, but you're very aware of how much money you have left. So I guess in the very early companies, yes. In the later stages, I'm not so sure. It may be in some companies, but I have not seen examples of larger companies where PMs would need that experience.
Actually, I would like to add something here. I totally agree with Mike, but I think that this is the key difference of a product manager, of someone who has all the chances to succeed and be really demanding on the market. You see, you should be an entrepreneur. You should have this mindset. So probably if you are not interested in that area, you should, consider if you really want to be a product manager, because most of our decisions, they based on understanding how the business works. Where are profits, where are losses, and how to design things, how the color of a button will affect the year revenue. It can. This is what we are doing, selecting different colors of buttons to increase the revenue 10 times. So it is, the core of our decisions. So of course you don't work with that things daily. But you have to understand how it works. And especially if you're working for startups, you would do that. So unit economics and other things, this is how you make your decisions. This is how you evaluate your success and how you test your hypothesis. You have to measure results in money, in dollars, or rubles, or whatever. So it is related to money almost all of the time. In big companies, of course, you have different metrics. You can work only with 2 or 3, and they are not related to money. They're related to money, but they can be expressed not on money, but on views or clicks or whatever. So, but you have to understand why they matter, how it works. So I think it's actually crucial to have this understanding.
Thank you.
And
we already have 5 minutes left.
Okay.
Yeah? Continue.
I would just agree with Lera and say that, yeah, understanding that every commercial product at the end of the day has to make money and bring some profits to the ones who build it, because they do it for a reason, and that reason is monetization. That's it. If it's not some kind of, well, free of charge stuff, I mean, built for just charity. If it's a commercial one, it has to bring money, and you have to understand how this is done and why.
Well, I would just slightly rephrase it. That's not like 100% about money. That's about the value, and the value in general may be counted not in money only, but of course the most like the money is one of the criteria of the success of this particular product. So for sure, I totally agree with what Lera said about the entrepreneurship mindset. That's important to have if you're going to the product manager role.
Great, thank you. And the last 3 minutes for some advices to our guys who want to start the career of product manager. What they should start with, any courses, books, activities that you will advise, just round discussion.
I guess the best courses I know of so far are Reforge's classes, and obviously the simulator from Go Practice for data skills. These are the 2 I would definitely recommend.
Thank you. Kate?
Well, you probably have to read some kind of a book just to make sure you know the terminology of the domain, you know what it's about.
I think that it can be another thing. You can go as a trainee to a really cool company and be ready to do that for free for at least half a year. You are going to gain the experience and to learn from best people who can really help you to enter this domain.
Well, from my side, it totally depends on the channel that you're actually gaining your personal gaining new knowledge, because someone is Googling, someone is following, I don't know, the best product managers and experts in some area. I can share how I've like based on my experience about the learning. I've took like a basic but very good course of the product management, just to understand this skeleton of how things works and what is exactly the activities of the product manager. So it very helped me. And honestly speaking, I was choosing this course based on the personality of the trainer. So yeah. That for me was important because for me the key channel of my learning is learning from people. So that is why that was my approach. And of course, in parallel, any podcasts, any I don't know, articles. Of course, there could be a lot of trash in the internet, but if you will have this basic course and like the key people where you can rely on as a role model, that will help you to define which is the just trash in the internet and which is useful.
Great. Thank you a lot, guys. It was really amazing and useful discussion. Dear audience, we have a 5 minutes break and stay tuned and see you on next session. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.